Hey guys, I've been promising someone that I would do this tutorial for a while, so finally here I go, Tracy. Boy, it's been a while. I showed a project video where I showed you a completed dress form that I had made with a Barbie doll and kind of paper macheing around the Barbie doll. You make your own dress form. So I first had seen it on Jeanette, who is Scrappin' Happy XO here on YouTube. I'd seen it on her channel, and so I did it. And then Tracy asked if I'd do a tutorial. And again, this was a long time ago. So what I did was I went to just Goodwill and got a bag of the Barbies, and I think it was 99 cents because it was the color of the day. If you can find, which I haven't been able to find, the Bratz dolls, because they have a more pronounced, smaller waist and a bigger booty, and that gives you a really nice dress form, but I cannot find those, so I keep looking for Bratz dolls. But these Barbies, as long as you can, they have a really small waist, because some of the Barbies are different, so if you can find them, you know, with the really skinny waist, that's good. So after you get the head and the arms off, and you need to get these out, these plastic things here, but I can't get them out on this one without really bending the armholes, and I don't want to do that. So I just figured I would use this one to start the demonstration. So you need to cover the whole torso of where you're going to put your paper. So technically you need to go all the way up here. In fact, you'll see on my other form that I just cover the whole thing. You need to cover it in plastic wrap. This, I really like using this. This is the press and seal. And the reason I like using this is because you only really have to use one. It doesn't have to overlap too much, because if you use regular cling wrap, depending on the brand you use, to get it to stick to each other to itself is kind of hard, again, depending on the brand. This press and seal, you just go around one time barely, and it sticks. It really goes in the grooves well because you need it to be conformed totally to the Barbie's body in order to get your dress form right, if that makes sense, okay? The reason this cup is here, well, I'll show you in a second. So once you get your cling wrap, press and seal, whatever you're going to use on her to where you like it, you're going to need some glue. And I'm just using glue from the dollar store. You're going to put it in some sort of a container and add a bit of water. My first layer, I tend to do a touch more water with the glue because I want the paper to kind of really get, to be able to shape the paper. Then I kind of, if I think it's still too watery, or if I need to make more or what have you, I'll do less water as opposed to glue, because then you want it to get hard. You'll need paper, book paper, whatever paper you're going to use, and you really need to rip a lot of small pieces, guys. And I'm talking like this small. Am I in frame? Or smaller, okay? And if you think I've ripped enough, rip some more. And you want every size. You want some long ones with a straight side. You want this size. Am I in frame? This size. You want every shape and size. Not too big, and you'll understand why. But if you think, oh, I've ripped enough, just rip some more, okay? So once you have your glue mixed, glue and your water mixed, once you have your paper ripped, and once you have your dress form covered, or your Barbie covered, you're ready. So then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you leave a line down the center of your Barbie's back, and that's so you could cut it off. Okay, so what I do is I kind of start there, and I'll take just a long straight strip, and I just dip it in the glue, and I just lay it on her back. Okay, again, your cling wrap's going to go all the way to the top, remember. I lay it on her back. Okay, and then I'll just do that on both sides. And the reason I say you don't want them too big is because when you get down to her butt, you need smaller pieces, because if they're too long, it's going to be rippled on the side, and you don't want that. Okay, and then you need to figure out how long you want your dress form, and so you would do that on both sides. Okay, you would have paper on both sides with a little line down the middle that's not covered. Okay, and then when you do the front, you decide how low you want it, and your other long strips of straight paper you'll put around her. Okay, and when Jeanette did her video, she used a brush to put the glue and everything on. I just seem to think it's easier with my finger. I can get it smoother. I just think I can control it a little more, and I don't mind getting a little messy. So you're gonna put this around, and you'll go all the way around the bottom, okay? And then you've got your strip all the way down here on both sides. And then you just start filling it in. You just put pieces on her wherever they look like they go, and dip them in the glue, get them pretty saturated, and then just stick them on. Now your first layer is going to move a little bit till you get a good portion of the Barbie covered. Okay, so you just kind of put it on and just move on. Don't worry initially about pieces sticking up. And again, this is why I tell you, you really want to get these pieces saturated so they lay down nicely. Okay. The reason you need the really small ones is when you get around here to her bust area, you need little pieces to go in and around here. Because if you try to use really big pieces to try to go around in here, again, it's just going to ripple up on the top, and it's not going to look right. So you just need little pieces. Again, just get a little piece on your finger, dip it in the glue, and stick it on. Another little piece, and you just keep going, doing this. Oops, she won't come off here. Until your whole dress form is covered. Okay? Once your dress form is covered, that's when the cup comes into play. You need it to dry, and it needs to be standing, so hence the cup, it just stands right up. Okay? So once your dress form is covered, this is what it'll look like. Let's see if I can get a good shot here. Okay, and here's the line that I was talking about down the back side that you want to leave. Okay, because that is how you are going to cut the dress form off your Barbie doll. Okay, you want to do it. You want to do a few layers before you cut it off, because it needs to be pretty sturdy. So you want to do a couple layers of paper before and have it dry totally before you even consider cutting it off the Barbie. Okay? So once you've got your couple layers on, 2-3 layers on, then you're ready to cut it off the Barbie. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Trying to find a pair of scissors that'll work, guys. Sorry. Okay. So all you're going to do at this point is just start at the bottom and make little snips where your line is that you left on the back of the dress form. Okay. because you've got the cling wrap on there, right here, I'm going to use my craft knife. Because you've got the cling wrap on there, it's going to pull right away. See it pulling away? Okay. I can't get my scissors under here, so I'm just going to use my craft knife right here. And just don't pull too hard trying to do this part. It will come because of your cling wrap, okay? Oh, I wanted to show you too. See, on this one, I did go all the way up with the cling wrap, like I said you would need to, because you can go all the way as high as you want with your paper. There we go. And voila, she's out, okay? So there's my dress form. Okay, so at this point you can trim, and if you use, depending on what cling wrap you use, you can pull it away from the inside, and you may want to do that. With the press and seal, it's such a thin layer, I just leave it on. I don't care that it's still in there. In fact, it kind of, it makes it stronger. So we're going to trim our cling wrap at this point, and you're going to trim your bottom, because when you're putting your paper on, obviously you're going to try to make the bottom as straight as possible, but it's just not, there's no way it's going to be perfect. So then you're just, this is the point when you trim everything up as best you can. Okay? Stand her up, see how, I don't want to cut myself here, let's put this away. See how she stands. Okay, she's leaning forward a bit. Okay. So, now we have to close her up. Okay, so at this point, you want tape, whatever kind of tape you want to use, whether it be washi, masking, whatever. I just think, because I have washi tape, it's just the easiest to use as far as I'm concerned. So what you want to do is take a piece of washi and hold it together where you think is good position, and stick a piece of tape on it and fold it over the bottom. So then you've got that. Okay? Just a piece of washi right there. Press it good, because I mean, obviously washi tape is low tack, so press it in there good. Okay? And you're just going to do that all the way up. Again, kind of get it in position. You got your finger on the inside, so you can push against it to get your washi to stick down. Okay. She's still leaning forward a little bit, so see if we can't. That's better. Okay. So let's get back to our washi. So you've got your finger on the inside, you're pushing against it so you can get that washi to stick down. Okay? So there we are, another strip of washi up her back there. And again, just keep on putting the tape on. Kind of get it together to where you want it. And stick your washi down. Now, once we get up here, our finger's not going to fit all the way up there. Now if you've got, see how I got kind of a gap right here? Don't worry about it. Your washi's gonna cover it, okay? Plus, once we get the washi on, we're gonna do another layer of book paper over it anyway. So, don't worry about it. Because the washi, we know, since it's low tack, is not going to... Decker! Sorry guys, my dogs. Since it's low tack, hang on. Hey, stop it. Of course they pick right now to play. It's not going to totally stay. In fact, see, it's already coming up down here. So we're going to have to put a piece of, a layer of the book paper over it. Okay, washi's on, so let's get started with our paper. Same thing as before, dip it in the glue, lay it right over the washi. See, this is another reason I just like using my finger, because it just, my fingers, it just goes on easier. And I'm just kind of trying to get some on here at this point. I'm not real worried about positioning or anything like that. Just trying to get some on to get it over the washi at this point. And you can, again, with your finger, you can kind of feel where the lumps and bumps are. So it's another reason that using your finger, Decker, is good, because you can kind of feel if you need to smooth something down a little more. See, and this is why I tell you, if you think you've ripped enough, rip some more, especially little pieces. Because once your fingers get in this glue, it's kind of hard to rip. I mean, I've done it just because I've been in a position where I needed more. So I'm using my little fingers and trying to hold the paper and rip it, and yeah, not fun. I wasn't out of frame. Not much going on right now though. A good piece here. Sorry guys, the camera shut off. I guess on this camera I can only do videos so long. Which I didn't know. Okay, so all you missed was me cutting this out. But what you do after you've got your washi tape and everything covered, and again, you do want to wait till it's dry. You're going to take some chipboard, and you're going to put your base on chipboard, and you're going to trace around it. You're going to trace around the base. And then you're going to cut that out of chipboard, and you're going to get just a general shape. Okay? So then that has to be, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is a little tricky sometimes. You have to get that into the bottom of your dress form without breaking anything. Now, it's not, seriously guys, it's not the easiest thing to do. Sometimes gluing one end, the front or the back, works for me. Okay, hot gluing one side of it and then working the rest in. This, I think it's going to be need your paintbrush again, because you're going to need to stick it in the top to kind of maneuver things around. I need a longer one. Hopefully I'm in frame. I'm trying to stay in frame, but I need to see you too. And when you trace it and cut it out, I mean, it's not going to be perfect, guys. This one little side here is giving me fits. Got it. Obviously, you may not want to use a craft knife. Okay. So now remember, I just glued one side of it. So what you can do, because you want it as close to the bottom as you can, I'm just going to take some glue, stick it in there, stick my paintbrush in, and kind of just push it into the glue, and then hold it. Okay? Let it dry. Okay, so there you've got the bottom in your dress form. So at this point, if you're all dry, you've got the bottom in your dress form, and there you have it. Okay, there is your paper mache homemade dress form. Okay, remember we went from the creepy Barbie with the cling wrap around her to this. Now, obviously at this point you can decorate it, embellish it however you want. You can paint it. What I have done normally is napkin, cover it in napkin. Just a tip, if you're going to use the napkin, obviously when you're going around the waist, it can get a little bulky towards the back. When you're going around the arms, it can get a little bulky, so just be aware of that when you're doing your napkin, if that's what you choose to do. But at this point, when it's dry, again, if you've put enough layers on it, it's no problem. You're not going to have any issues with it at this point. This one actually came out pretty smooth. Again, that's another reason I like just using my fingers, because I can really tell where there is a lump or a bump in the paper. But there is your homemade dress form. And then again, you can do whatever you want with it at this point. So I hope you guys give it a try. It's really not that hard. It's really pretty simple. Just seriously get the inexpensive glue from the dollar store, add a bit of water, book paper, a Barbie, a creepy Barbie, and you're good to go, guys. So I hope you give it a try. Thanks for watching. Bye.